Well, very pleased to have with us on the show this evening the CEO of Gibson Guitar, Henry Juskowitz. And Mr. Juskowitz, thanks again for joining us, sir.
I am very happy to be here with you tonight.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what happened last week when the premises of Gibson Guitar was raided. What exactly? First of all, who instigated this raid, and what were they doing?
Well, we had about 20 armed officers from the Fish and Wildlife Bureau as well as Homeland Security that came into our plants with guns, evacuated the plants, shut down production, sent the people out into the street and the parking lot, and eventually sent them home, proceeded to go through the office, the factories, and confiscate wood plus hard drives and image hard drives and grabbed all kinds of paperwork and so forth.
All right, now, as I understand it, this has something to do with a law called the Lacey Act. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and help me out here. The feds say that some of the wood that is used in the Gibson guitars, it's not allowed to enter this country?
What they say is that it was not allowed to be exported from the country of origin. So in other words, in this particular case, rosewood and ebony from the country of India should not have been exported from India because it's against Indian law.
Okay, and what's your response to that?
It's baloney. The fact is that we have been buying rosewood and ebony from India for well over 17 years, consistently. The wood specifically was endorsed by the Forest Stewardship Council, independent third-party certifier that, basically says the wood is legal and properly sourced and sort of a high standard of sourcing, if you will.
Okay. So as far as you're concerned, this is just nonsense.
It is nonsense, and I, believe that these guys are out to get us for some reason.
Well, let me ask you about that because there's been some speculation on the internet that one of your competitors, Fender, also uses this same wood, but they've not been subject to any raids. And it turns out that their CEO has given some money to Democrats. I understand that you've given some money to Republicans. Do you think that there's a political witch hunt going on here?
I just don't know. I can say this though, that all guitar companies use this wood. Almost all guitars use rosewood or ebony fingerboards, and the largest source of this wood is India.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's using it, has been using it. We all use basically the same sources, and so we're being singled out. There's no doubt.
And under this Lacey Act, I guess it makes it illegal to, quote, import, export, transport, sell, receive, acquire, purchase in interstate or foreign commerce any plant with some limited exceptions taken or traded in violation of the laws of the U.S., a U.S. state or relevant foreign law. Now, I'm looking at a story here from 2009, Mr. Juskowitz. Michelle Obama presenting Carla Bruni Sarkozy with a Gibson Hummingbird, which apparently had a fretboard made from a choice piece of Indian rosewood. So if, in fact, Gibson has violated the law, then what about the First Lady?
Well, technically, she is, guilty of a criminal misconduct.
That is to say, if what you're doing is wrong, then what she was doing is
wrong. Exactly. Everyone in the chain of custody, from the very earliest part of it being a piece of wood to the very end product, everyone who touches it is assumed complicit in the crime.
And I understand. I mean, look, there are musicians who are now afraid to take their guitars out of the country because they're afraid they may not be able to bring them back in.
That is, that in addition to whether it's legal or not. For example, if you bought a guitar that was made in 2005,
Yeah.
that's prior to the Lacey law going into effect, and therefore, by definition, that guitar is legal. Okay, it's grandfathered in, and it's legal. But you, as the owner of that guitar, have this pile of paperwork you've got to fill out when you take that guitar across the border. So it's not enough that it's legal. You have to prove, where the wood came from for every part of the guitar that has wood.
I'll be honest with you, Mr. Jeskowitz. We talk a lot about some pretty silly gun control laws on this show quite a bit, but this is the first time I've ever heard of having to have provenance for your guitar.
It's pretty wacky.
It is.
It's unbelievable.
Are we worried about unlicensed guitarists running around? I mean, I find this. This would be absurd if it didn't mean American jobs. If it didn't mean so much to your company. I mean, really, I can't imagine what this might mean for Gibson.
It's been really a nightmare. It's cost us enormously. We're in the courts trying to defend ourselves, and trying to get back goods that have been seized from us. And this is the second time they've come in an aggressive and hostile manner in 2 years, and it just doesn't seem to ever want to stop.
So what can we as consumers, even those of us who don't play the guitar, what can we do to help?
Well, the only thing that I could think of is to have you call your legislators, your congressman, senator, and tell them that this is not fair. This is not the way democracy should be run. And while that won't necessarily help us in this particular situation, it will prevent other people, and perhaps we could fix the law so that unreasonable things can't be done.
Do I understand correctly that if, for whatever reason, this rosewood was allowed to be treated in India by Indian employees, that it would be okay?
That is the position of the government. The position, this law that they're citing, is the Indian government intent is to keep work in India.
Yeah.
In other words, if you use our wood, you got to do some stuff here. You can't just export raw wood.
Okay.
And so the Indian government, and as you would imagine, was trying to keep work in their venue.
Mm-hmm.
What is amazing is our government's trying to help them. And that's a little amazing.
Exactly. It should be our government trying to protect American jobs.
I would think so, yes.
Wow. Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming on the program. I'm glad to see. I hate to see what you're going through, but I'm glad to see that it is getting a lot of attention. And I hope that people keep talking about this. Hope we can have you back on when there are new details to report.
Thank you for having me. And please, everyone, just write your congressmen and senators and let them know how you feel.
Absolutely. Henry Jeskowitz, the CEO of Gibson Guitar, joining us here on Cam & Company. Thanks again, sir.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.